Mythical Zoans has always been the most interesting type of power in the One Piece story, especially with early on in this series us scoffing at Zoans and being more interested in the rare powerful Logias and the unique and wacky Paramecia. But that's all changed when we found out the truth about Luffy being a Zoan, something foreshadowed during Punk Hazard, when Luffy told Momonosuke he was not a Zoan user. Now Wano put the rare mythical Zoans in the forefront with Katarina Devon, Nine-Tailed Fox powers like she is Naruto or something, and Yamato's legendary Guardian Wolf powers. The list goes on from Orochi to Onimaru, and Oda has the final fight be two mythical Zoans in Luffy and Kaido fighting at the peak of strength we have seen in the series in the present time. Now Egghead Island had the Gorosei turn into mythical creatures that might not even be Delphi powers, and Elbaf is continuing this trend with Holy Knight Killingham and Holy Knight Sword Cerberus, so expect Oda to finish off the One Piece story with a lot of mythical creatures being highlighted from the past. So let's do a deep dive on how the latest One Piece chapter 1142 opened the doors to some pretty crazy things. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join the membership for some cool perks. Now, who would have thought the Elbaf children at Walrus School would be so important through their fear of monsters, giving us the name of Imu's Delphi and the Serpent alongside Nika, three of the most important mythical Delphi powers in the One Piece series. Now I must admit, seeing Big Mom Zeus Ghosts was cool, but I want to focus on the more mythical side of things, how this could make Elbaf the most important arc in the series. Now first, let me get the minor mythical creatures, if I'm even allowed to say that, out of the way, starting with the flying creature I first thought was the Itsumade belonging to Mars, but now I'm leaning more towards the Fajalar, a mythical red rooster that is said to herald the onset of Ragnarok in Norse mythology. Its power seems to revolve around the wind, which honestly just made me think of Monkey D. Dragon, because we always seen him using wind in multiple situations and was said to move when the Holy Knights were immobilized. And these Holy Knights are right now hanging out in Elbaf, so might we see a Luffy Dragon meeting soon? Who knows? Now the other mythical creature I found interesting was the bear looking monster Mink that could be the mythical creature Bodvar Bajarki, a warlike little bear appearing in Tales Hirofur Karaki, depicted with the ability to shapeshift into a bear, which, let's be honest, bears are one of the strongest animals that rarely get depicted well. Until recently we've seen Beppel's Sulong form versus the Yonko Blackbeard to save Laws, so I am all in for a mythical bear being highlighted in the series. Now the first major mythical creature I want to dissect is Fenrir, a monstrous wolf in Norse mythology. In Old Norse texts, Fenrir plays a key role during the events of Ragnarok, where he's foretold to assist in setting the world aflame, resulting in the collapse of humanity and society. This makes me think that Fenrir will belong to a villain. This creature is known for its strength, agility, and bite force, which would be really cool to see in hand-to-hand combat with Luffy. Now, if I had three major candidates for this Delphi, I would say Figurland Garling, the new Gorosei, who might have given Whitebeard a scar on God Valley and said to be strong, and also my front runner for main villain of Elbaf. Now, there's also Shanks' brother Figurland Shamrock, who already has a mythical sword Cerberus, and the strongest Holy Knight yet to be revealed is also in the equation. Now, a surprise pick would be Loki, given we already know he has a legendary Delphi, but I think he has another mythical creature. That Delphi being Jormungandr, mentioned by name for the first time in the Elbaf arc, but foreshadowed by Dory and Bragi during the Little Garden arc, and the mural highlighting the mythical creature being a key part of the first world falling apart, while also having the giant resembling Loki share a similar design seen on the serpent Jormungandr. Now, Jormungandr is an unfathomably large and monstrous sea serpent or worm who dwells in the world sea, encircling the earth or Midgard and biting its own tail as an example of an Ouroboros. As a result of him surrounding Midgard, the beast is referred to as the World Serpent. Jormungandr releasing his tail is one of the signs of the beginning of Ragnarok. This would also make sense since Loki is being hyped up in the beginning of Elbaf arc to cause a great impact on the world, where even the Holy Knights want him to join. Jormungandr is known for its immense size, strength, and durability, while also being able to spread poison, and with Loki being the size of the continent drifter Oz, it makes sense for him to hold this power. Funny thing though is the mythical creature that caught my attention the most was Nidhoggr, the lightning dragon, as this Delphi seemingly looks to belong to Imu, and with Luffy, Nika being immune to lightning strikes, now it makes sense for Imu to have such a great fear for Luffy and Joy Boy's power. Now Nidhogg is a worm/dragon who gnaws at the roots of the world tree, which made me think of the Atom Tree and the origins of Delphi's powers. Yes, Imu's Delphi is connected to all three worlds and is seen twice in the famous Elbaf mural, so expect some major lore to be dropped about Nerona Imu during this arc. Nidhoggr power power seems to feed on the dead souls, which made me think of Moria and why Doflamingo was sent to kill him, while also making me think of the strongest Logia that Blackbeard wanted so much, the Yami Yami no Mi, the darkness ability to negate and steal Delphoot power. So Imu's Delphoot is a very dark power and complete opposite of Monkey D. Luffy's Nika power. I remember the first ever chapter of One Piece introduced the concept of Delphoots through Luffy, and though we thought the Gomu Gomu no Mi was a Paramecia type, now in hindsight we know the first ever Delphoot in One Piece was a Zoan type, the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika to be exact, a mythical Zoan, the most rarest of all Zoan types. And us having the context of Shanks rating a CP9 ship for the Delphoot, which had even who's who confused on why they cared so much about the Delphoot, really puts it all into perspective on how Oda planned for Luffy to be a mythical from the very start, thus having One Piece be centered around mythical creatures. And oh boy, does this topic get complicated once you dig deeper into the mythical world and its connection to the reality we currently face in the final saga. Drum Kingdom is a very important arc that rarely gets talked about, and one of the many reasons it's important is the first time we see the concept of Zoan powers through Dalton's transformation. The word Zoan is also first used in this arc as Dalton's bison power shock and awe the Drum Kingdom residents with his power of the wild beast that dwells in the Zoan type, Delphoot. Oda was very specific with introducing in this arc a unique Zoan Delphoot ability as the Hito Hito no Mi, which gave Chopper human-like abilities first. This was obviously a reference to Luffy's true power, but also having the first ever Delphoot user, Straw Hat, not named Luffy, be a Zoan user, showing how much Oda wanted this type of Delphoot to be highlighted in the story, a pattern that wouldn't let up as we continue the series. Oda also highlighted while Chopper was fighting that Zoan types usually are limited to 3 forms: their base, their hybrid, and their full beast form. This is interesting because Chopper reveals with the help of the Rumble Ball he has 7 forms, which gets Luffy hyped and makes me think of Luffy's base form, Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd, Gear 4th, Bounce Man, Tank Man, Snake Man, and Gear 5th, which equals up to 7 forms as well. So you could say maybe Oda liked to tie Luffy and Chopper together, who knows. During Alabasta, it was stated Pell's Delphoot is one of the 5 identified Delphoot types, which gives the user the ability to fly. The reason I found this interesting is because here goes Oda again going into specifics when it comes to Zoan powers, like the Falcon Fruit Pell had, and might I add, Pell surviving a nuke also makes Zoan durability look insane regardless if you think it's an Aspel. During Water 7 and Ennie's lobby, Oda dropped some important information on Zoans as well, from Chopper letting us know Lucci has a carnivorous Zoan which is a lot more violent than regular Zoans, to Lucci explaining the Zoan Delphoot special quality is to strengthen themselves physically and how their power increases the more they train, explaining why Luffy and Kaido were so strong on Wano and how Imu's training since the Void Century could make him the strongest. Lucci also states logically the Zoan is the strongest in close combat. We get kind of confirmed this in Ennie's lobby when Giabra transforms into the carnivorous wolf, which made me think of the mythical Fenrir we just saw in Elbaf, but that's beside the point. All I'm trying to say is Giabra had a better grasp on his power than Kaku, who just recently got his Zoan power and was struggling to control his transformations, though obviously after training and a time skip, now alongside Lucci has awakened his Zoan Delphoot, showing how good he is in the skill of training. Another thing I want to discuss during this saga is when Spondum pulled out his sword, Funkfree, that ate a Zoan Delphoot, the elephant type, and Frankie forced the elephant to turn his sword back into a trunk, showing early signs of Zoan having a will of their own. During Sabaody, when the 4 supernova captains were fighting Kizaru and the Pacifista, X-Drake transformed into a dinosaur. As Apu stated, it was a rare ancient type user, showing the intricacies of the Zoan type that separates itself from the Paramecia and Logia. As the only special trait we know so far is Katakuri's Delphoot being called a special Paramecia since it's closest to Logia's power, even Nekomushi, who traveled with Whitebeard and Roger during their prime, stated Jack's ancient model of the elephant fruit, the mammoth, was a real rare power he had there, especially with him being the first Billionberry bounty user shown in the series. Even during Wano, when Page 1 went into his hybrid dinosaur form versus Raid Suit Sanji, Law stated those ancient types don't mess around, showing the respect they got from pretty powerful fighters. If I had to rank it, I would go Mythical Zoans, then Ancient Zoans, then Carnivorous Zoans, then regular Zoans. Just look at Queen after getting destroyed by the Yonko Big Mom, shocked everybody by getting back up and attacking her again from the top ropes like it was WWE. This is why I respected Frankie, Sanji, and Zoro during their Wano fights, because of how durable these dinosaur types they were fighting were. This was confirmed when Luffy and Yamato gave Page 1 and Ulti some pretty big blows, but they got back up ready to fight as the Fodder Beast pirates were in shock at how durable the dinosaur powers were. After Sanji did his Diablo Jamba attack on Queen, that's when he noticed the dinosaur durability, and Zoro noticed it when King blocked the same attack he cut Kaido with, saying dinosaurs are like mythical Zoan dragons with their tough skin, and King replied, "You're not wrong, but I'm on another level," obviously alluding to his special race Lunarians. But regardless, Sanji had to bring blue flames combined with his strong armored haki and exoskeleton Germa DNA to defeat Queen, and Zoro had to control his Congress haki coding and go King of Hell mode to defeat King. Yeah, Oda loves his Zoans for sure. Now, during the War of the Best, and some might also say the best arc in One Piece Marineford, Oda chose to introduce the strongest class of Zoans, that being the mythical Zoan Delphoot. Kizaru stated this class of Zoan was even rarer than the Logias, which I took serious since Kizaru was a Logi himself, so he should definitely know for goodness sake. Marco the Phoenix had the power to take any attack and regenerate instantly in a burst of flames. Talk about a special bird. Marineford also did the liberty to reveal the Fleet Admiral Sengoku's Delphoot, which was also a mythical Zoan type, Hito no Mi Daibutsu, aka a giant gold Buddha. Obviously another hint into Luffy's power being of Nika and not the Gomu Gomu no Mi. We also got confirmation on God Valley by Jenny saying the mythical Zoan were the strongest class of Delphoots when speaking about the Azure Dragon Delphoot that would be eaten by the strongest creature alive, Kaido. So if that's not high praise by Oda, I don't know what is when it comes to mythical Zoans. The last thing I want to highlight when it comes to mythical Zoans is during the end of Wano. Oda cut to the Gorosei discussing the Gomu Gomu no Mi escaping their grasp for 800 years since the Void Century. They explained Zoan fruits have a will of their own, and all this made me think of was the origin of Delphoots explained during Egghead Island by Vegapunk, and how this could connect to mythical Zoans, and with Elbaf being a mythical arc, expect some insane creatures and insane feats from Luffy, Loki, and whatever else monsters joined during the Ragnarok event. And with Oda recently highlighting that crazy dragon and that crazy serpent, again through Elbaf the kids and their fear, and seeing that mural with the dragon and of course the serpent, I can't wait to see what Oda's going to do when it comes to the end of One Piece and Joy Boy's tale when it comes to the Void Century, and also just the first world. We got two major flashbacks that we still have to see, and also have other flashbacks like God Valley and the Roger Pirates, but all I know is that Elbaf is bringing this mythical twist that I just so much enjoy. So debate in the comment section if you disagree with anything I said this video.